So you should have gone through these tabs, right? These are the tasks which are assigned to you, whoever you're logging in as, right? If there's any work items or anything which is assigned to you, it will come in different tabs. My access review is something to do with the certifications. Any certification items which is assigned to you will come here. Access request are the ones which we submit to the user manage user access, right? Those items will be here. Population violations, I'll tell you what those are today. And any work items, any approvals or anything. Manual work item, if you are the owner of a Delinter application, if any manual work item is assigned, everything will come in these. Any questions in this current tab? At least two of it you guys already have used. One of it is explained now, and I'll explain a couple of things more too. Any questions so far here in this current tab?
No, Disha.
Policy violations.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we have something called policies and
Okay.
SailPoint. If there is any violations which is flagged for a user, right? If you are the owner of that policy, it will come here. Okay, like something like a specific process has to be followed. If that is not followed, you're trying to flag it. Those come as violations, right? So this is what we include here. These items will be coming here. The policy owner can either approve it or decline it. Okay. And in identity warehouse, right? Any identities, what you see is under identities. Any identities by mistake, if it is not correlated, they come as uncorrelated accounts, right? These are the uncorrelated details which come through. So if you see, there was one identity which was not mapped to the right user, right? So it came as identity. If there is some mapping which you can find it for one another, you will place it here. So out of 6 applications, 2 applications have one each of the names. If you see here, right, these correlated if it is checked, that means these are coming from HR source. If it is coming as unchecked, that means these are standalone identities which are not being able to map to the HR application. Yeah.
Yes, Disha.
Usually, if such things are by mistake, let's assume like uppercase, lowercase, something was missed in the rule, it will miss, right? So we check this box and check this box and do a correlate. We do a merge option here so that the account from here will flow back to this identity. In this case, I'm just selecting it, and in the genuine cases, that's how we do the unqualified mappings. So in application, the most important is application definition page and catalog entitlement catalog page. I think these two are fair enough for you to understand. If you want to keep replicating our applications from based on one application, this rapid application is what we select. Here you tell what is the aggregation mode. Should a joiner other lifecycle events should it configure all these configurations you can do. On saving, it will create the corresponding attributes. It won't have basic attributes. It will not. If you see after you set up the sample you set up, try to add in certain attributes, you will have differences. On the application XML, you will have additional attributes which is predefined for the lifecycle events and other processes. And in advanced analytics, we did. You might have used it for a couple of options like identity, audit, and all that, based on each operations. If you want to filter the certifications, you will select this access review. If you want to search, get the list of roles for a given owner, you can select this, like that entitlement, activity, audit, access request, syslog. If you might be getting some errors on that, based on that, if you give the ID of the error, it will tell you an account if you want to fetch the details of the account. Anything which you have searches based on this. If you see in your in your object config, right? If you take an example of entitlement, like for identity entitle external attribute, identity mappings, right? These four would have been searchable attributes. Go back and check if it is marked as searchable is where it will come here. Otherwise, this will be empty. On the right side are the ones which you want to display it. So your left is the filter option, right side is the display option. Okay, right now whatever we showed you is just an example I'm showing you. Okay, you want to see the users who have access to a particular application. This is the user, right? You have his first name, last name, and manager details along with email. I get this, right? This one I have to manually export it. Or if you want to do anything, this is like based on the filter conditions, right? Like this, you can generate reports also. It will directly be generated, and either in that report generations, either you can mark it as email options. I'm randomly picking one. If you see here, right, it will tell you what is the name. You have to give the name of the report and email recipients, right? If you give the values, right, email options, right, for these, after the report is got generated, a report will be sent to this in email as an attachment. So whatever email value is there for this user, right, it will be going. And if you have multiple server hosts, right, your given a production environment, you won't be having one single server, right? In your local environment, you only have one server. That means you have only one host which is having it. But in case of production, we'll have multiple hosts. You want this report to be run on a single host. In that scenario, you give this server name here. Okay. And what is the action that has to happen? Let's assume like you want to run this on periodic basis. What will happen? What will happen to the previous task which was run? It'll rename the old. Let's assume like I'll make it as test report. Right now, whatever you mark it as will become test report. Next time when I run, right, or previously run, let's assume like I ran it at 5:15 to one run. When I run it at 5:15, it will come as test report. When I run it at 5:30. New report will get generated as test report 1. Previous one which ran it at 5:15 will get renamed as test report 1. That previous whatever is there, everything will keep getting replaced. So either you can rename the old or the current one which newly run ones, you can rename it, or you can cancel it, or you can delete it. That means your previous task will get deleted and it will keep overriding the result value. So in case of delete, you will not be able to select the previous task results. So if you want to verify what is happening on periodic basis, if the report is generated successfully or no, you have to have these two options selected. Okay, let's assume like more than two people are running at the same time. Can you allow it to run simultaneously? I run it before it is completed. Can I run it? That is called concurrent, right? I'm running something concurrently. Can I allow it to run concurrently? Is this checkbox defines it? And sometimes, right? This like let's assume like you most probably some reports will be having like a list of users who were created today. from HR source if you want a report like that, right? Sometimes there may not be entries into the HR data, right? So, do you want to send those empty reports in email? That option is here. You can, mostly this is checked. If I don't have anything to send, I need not send the email at all today, right? For that option is this. And then we have two options of attachment type. The report will get attached as a, right? Either it will be in .csv file format or PDF format. If you want them to do some editing process for their processing, it's always better to we give them as CSV, because PDF cannot be editable, right? So that is why these two options are there. And require sign off, like we have certification sign off, right? Do you want such sign off to be done? In that scenario, we have this option selected here. Any questions here? This first page, right? Whatever you see as standard properties, right? This doesn't change for any report which you have it in the system. This is a constant parameters. And based on your report output, you want a certain output, right? Based on that output, if you have some filter conditions, you need to have some filter conditions. That is what comes in your certain properties. So sometimes, minimalistic report will have just two, okay. One is standard properties and report layout. If you have any filter options, it will come as certification filters. Sometimes you might need it on certificate. You want it based on the output type, and sometimes let's assume like you want it based on an identity attribute. You want to have it on application attributes. In that scenario, right, you will have standard properties, identity properties, application properties, and then report layer. I'll just show you. You can basically tell this is the standard ones wherein you give the name, all that email option selected, or if you want to have it in PDF, all that basic parameters are configured here. In anything in between one and last one, if you have, that means those are filter conditions. It can be grouped based on object types, but anything anything apart from 1 and 3 will be the filter conditions. And last one will tell you how do you want to see your report. These are the columns based on a report. These are your output columns which will be coming in the advanced analytics. I showed you, I selected right on the right hand fields to display selections. These are by default there for this current report. If you want to exclude anything, if you want to remove something, you can just click on it, remove it. Okay, or you want to do when you click on the output, right, you want to have sorting. You can have the sorting options based on what you want. You want object name, you want it to be sorted. Based on object name and role, you want it to be sorted. Grouped. In that scenario, you will do these options. Okay, all these options are there to how you can see at the output side. Okay, do you want to summary? It's like it will give you what is the conditions based on which your report ran, and what is the it will give you a pie chart of the display. All that, I've unchecked, everything is unchecked, right? So you can, I'll show you how it looks like. All these are your basic templates.
The works templates which is
Okay. See here, I'm picking up this condition. Okay. Application account summary. I'll show you as a first example. Okay. So if I don't select, if I filter it, right, it will give only for one application. If I select more than each application, it will tell me the details. Okay. So I have filtered right now for one. These are the 4 columns which will get displayed. Okay. I'll do a save and preview first. In e-card application, there are 11 applications, identities 11, multiple accounts 0. Now I'll save and execute. Okay, that was just a preview to see if it's populating properly or not. You see here, I selected SP admin, right? This is the from address, this is the to address, and this is the report. Please find the requested report attached to my email. This is the default template, okay? So these are the details which are as an attachment. If you see, it will come as test summary, name of your report, whatever you schedule it as, and this is the details, whatever you saw it in the task result page. It will tell you the application name, account name, and identity name. This is the PDF format, PDF attachment, okay? This is the .csv. So it gives you all the list of users who are part of this finance application. I told you, right? There'll be multiple filter conditions. If you see, all this is based on the identity details, primary details, like first name, last name. Anything which was not by default coming in the, as soon as you had an initial setup, you just had first name, last name, email, display name, and manager. Apart from this, you don't have had anything else. Any external attributes. Right now, these are searchable attributes, right? This is what will come here. And this is the output you want. So, I mean, like, you have to go to, nobody can tell you, okay, until you figure it out, everything will not be provided to you. So each of it have its own details, okay. If you say access review decision report, what does this mean? Can any of you answer? As soon as you read the description, what do you understand?
It displays the information about the certification, whether the decisions made by the system or user.
What is system and what is user? So what do you mean by that? You can give me in a simple term. You don't have to read it out. Well, just tell me what do you understand. Access review, decision report. What is the decision taken on the access review? What do you mean by decision, access review decision?
Whether the decision or whether the work item was approved or rejected.
Here it is access review is certification. Okay? You cannot
Certification.
generalize the term work item. Certification. A certification or assigned to a user, right? What is the
Yes.
action taken on it? Did he approve it, revoke it? If you want a report, based on it, this is the report. Sign off.
Yes.
Was it signed off? When was it signed off? All the details. This is generic, okay? Any type of certifications. These two are related to account group. You want account group membership certification report. This is permissions report. This is advanced report. Like that each and every type is there, right? Entitlement owner, application owner, manager, roles, target, all these different types of certifications will come here. This is generic. Any type of cluster of everything can be combined here in bottom. Like this account group reports who are a member of a given account group for a given application. What is the details of it? This will give you the count. This will give you the details. I mean, I showed you how to assign capabilities. Right? If you go to this warehouse, right, you have this user rights. These are the list of capabilities, okay? That means when you see as a regular user, have you guys logged into any other person apart from SP admin?
No, Geeta. So no, Lisha.
So basically, right, anybody who is a regular user, right? If I'm a manager, I might be getting my work items. Like that, if I'm an application owner, I'll be getting this my application details. I should be able to make changes, right? Like that, based on my parameters, what is configured in SailPoint, my view will change. I'll just show you an example of this current user. This is his username, right? I'm changing his password. What is the difference that you see in the previous screen and this screen?
So
This is
in this
SP
case,
admin screen, okay?
yeah.
This is the regular user screen. What is the difference you see?
So in this case, it is having less number of tabs. Identity
What does it
warehouse.
mean?
In case of tabs, it is not having
So that
identity
means if you don't have tabs, that means you don't have access to them, right? Your access is restricted.
Right.
Here, if you see nothing apart from your details, nothing will be displayed. You cannot go to debug page. You cannot go to identity warehouse. Nothing, right? See.
Yes.
You see the difference?
Yeah.
Now for this user, I'll try to give a different parameters. I'll give him an auditor parameters, okay? Auditor in the sense, he should be able to see reports and all. What do you mean by auditor? What do you guys think of an auditor as?
In order to verify all the process, whether we, whatever the process we did, we need to verify all those things.
So you might have to do something with respect to reports or some scores or advanced analytics, all these type of things, right?
Right.
You see, he won't be able to edit. You can just see reports. He can see advanced analytics. He can see and roles. He can see nothing else. And you cannot see the debug page and other things as well. So that capability, right? So based on that, on a high level name, each and everything which is there in SailPoint, it will be clubbed together. What access based on this type of capability, right? What type of access does that capability need to have? It's all predefined. Okay, based on the operation, we'll select the right parameters and give it. SP admin, system administrator, you see, right? This is the only person who will be able to have 100% all the access. In the debug page, you will have something called capability object editor. You have to select the capability and you can see all these capabilities. At the back end, what each capability has underlying access, we can show you on a high level, but like I said, it could be too much, but try to understand. Based on the functionality, we try to give the right access. I have removed his access anymore, so he should not have anything. You have to log out and log in again, okay? If you wanted to see, don't come back and tell you're not able to see the. You can see the same parameters. Until you log out, you won't be able to see. If you see, he's lost the access whatever he had, right?
Yes, Kit. Yes, Disha.
Yes. Yes, Disha.
So with respect to that capabilities, you want what are capabilities are assigned to the user, anything of that informative things, everything will be here. Okay, you can go through them. I mean, everything you won't be using it in your client system, but sometimes when they have a requirement, you could figure out can you do it in out of box reporting structure. If you cannot do it in out of box, then that is when you take a call to do a custom reports. In this example we had, right now you're only what is the output you saw? Just the application name, account name and identity name, right?
Yes.
Here they want to see identity's first name and last name, or identity's information, or some parameters of account. In that scenario, can you customize this rule, customize this report? If it is not customizable, that means you'll have to create a fresh report altogether, right? These are the things that you take a call when a requirement is given. For that, you need to, on a high level, know what are the reports, what is your outputs at least. At least you have to see, okay, given this report, where do I have to search? What exactly may I search it for? These things on a high level, you guys need to understand.
Oh.
Okay. So every time when I say a report here, right? I mean, this could be too much, but I want you to be guys to relax and digest this as explained, okay?
Okay.
Everything, whatever we do in the front end, everything will have an object created, okay? I showed you auditor, right?
Yes, Disha.
For a capability, these are the parameters. What can he see, what can he not see? And reports also, what is the reports that he needs to see? He need not see all the reports, right? Whatever is marked as full access report or these kind of reporting things, same thing will be given. Okay, these are the details based on which your each capabilities is there. Okay, whatever you see here, right? Individual thing, these are SP, right? So whatever you see identity warehouse, right? View identity. Whatever you have to base you see in the identity warehouse, it will be marked as view identity. You have access request, right? That is called as view access request. So each and everything, what is there, it may have, may not have, okay? At least 95% of the times it will always have a mapping, one-to-one mapping. If you don't have it in mapping, you cannot add it. You'll have to create your own new SP rights and configure, okay? These are the things that you need to configure for the capabilities. And when I say the reports, right? Whatever reports you see it in the front end, right? So application account by attribute report, right? We saw this
Yes.
application account summary report also, right? So this, when you see, what do you see? Based on how your filters are done, is this backend report. It will tell you all reports and tasks, everything is backend connected to the same object task definition, okay?
Yes.
Here you have the executor, right? If it tells anything with respect to live report executor, that means it is associated with reports. Make a note of this point. In task definition, if you have this executor ask, it's a SailPoint reporting live report, right? That means it is with respect to reports. This task definition is associated to a report. And this is the backend name and other things. As usual, whatever you configure, by default configurations, it will be there. Okay. If you scroll down to the below most, right, you saw the filter conditions, right, at the front end. For a given report, what is the filters you need to have? That is there in signature inputs. Sometimes it can be multi-valued, or sometimes it has to be single value, right? This is predefined by these parameters. Signature. If you have more than one filter conditions, right, it will come as inputs. Multiple inputs will come. It will come under inputs. It will come as different arguments. Okay. To access that report, this is the rights that you need to have. I showed you, right? SP rights.
Yes. Yes.
If user has this SP right, only then he'll be able to access the report. Are you able to take it? Then coming back here, right? We have something called report key report. So here this gives the condition. You have a title, right? Output, you get a title, right? Telling us this is the title of your report. That is what this is coming from. And when you make a query, right, on what base of that report, how is it coming, is the application parameters. Based on the application object, you're trying to filter get the total counts of the accounts and based on the different identities. It gave you applications, it gave you the accounts and identities and how many have multiple accounts, right? These are the filters it gave you. Whatever it is prepared based on these filters. It could be complicated, but at least on a high level, get to know what this means. Okay, I'm just trying to explain on a high level only.
Okay.
And this is the columns, right? Whatever you get in columns, right? You can see this report column config, applications, total reports, and each one of it have a field header. This is the display name, whatever you get it on the report output. Clear?
Yes, Disha.
Yes, Disha.
Mahati and Vijata.
Yes, Disha.
There you saw a single input argument, right? Here also you can see multiple input arguments. This is one of the certification reports. If you see create a date, sign off date, expiration date based on this. Okay. In the previous condition, I showed you it was a filter, correct? You see here, this object type was based on filter, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Here, if you see, it is based on the Java code.
Java.
Okay. When you run this backend, this is the class file which will get called. And this class file is what does the processing and gives you the output report.
Okay.
These are the different ways your reports are generated. One is custom Java code. The other one is filter. And the other one more you have HQL based on the something like an SQL query. I've selected an application, right? I can schedule it also on monthly basis or weekly basis also, right? Based on whatever current filters I have applied, same thing I want it. So all these are predefined. Whatever I selected when I generated the first time, all this will be saved here. Whom do I have to send? What is the format I have to send? What is the details based on which I have to send? Whatever filters I added, right? Whatever conditions I selected, everything will be here in these parameters. But parent of this, based on which you are generating the report, will be mentioned in this parent. Okay. Let's say once you are into the system, production system, okay, all of you will be as individual identities, right?
Yes.
Let's say I have given one of you as auditor action, one of you as some other capability wherein all of you have access to the reports. You generate a report called based on the name. Let's say e-card application. You generate a report for e-card application. Let's say Archana generates is for finance application. In that scenario, whatever Archana generated, right, you won't be able to see because you are the she is the owner of that report, right?
Yes, Disha.
So this thing you have to always keep in mind, okay? Whatever I do, I may not you until you are at the SPR, you have system administrator capabilities, right? You will not be able to see whatever everyone is doing in the system. Okay. So all these things, right, you'll only know once you log in as different users and give different capabilities and try to generate it and come back and compare it with your non-HR application, non-SP admin credentials, log in and see how you will be able to see the view of it. When I say this is because I generated. Even if Archana was a user in my system, right, she wouldn't be able to see these reports because this is my reports which I have generated. So all these points I want you guys to think about it thoroughly. Okay? If I can schedule this on monthly basis or weekly basis. Okay. This was supposed to happen at 5 minutes from now. I can do a run now, and I want it to run on monthly basis, or I want it on weekly basis. So here you'll see it. Whatever schedules you do, right, everything will come under these scheduled reports. It will tell you when is currently it's not run, right? Right now, after it runs, it will tell you when is the next executions. Make sense?
Clear, Disha.
Okay. This whatever you see it in scheduled reports or scheduled tasks, right? You will be able to see it in task schedule. So see right, this is the con expression. I told it to run at 6:28, right? My time 6:28 is nothing but 18:26, right? So this is seconds, this is minutes, this is hours, and I wanted it on every weekly basis, right?
Yes, Disha.
So this is the configuration for it. So based on it, you can, there is online portals where you can get the con expression given if you want to run it on monthly basis, how do you want to generate everything? You can go back and check on it. Same thing, this con expression will be based even for your certification schedules or your task schedules, anything of it. Here the executor tells what is the report which it has to generate, and who was the launcher, and if you have specified any host parameters, any configurations, right, it will tell you on that particular host only it will run. And this is the format of the date. When you convert a new date, right, Java util new date, right, it will get converted to long format in this.
Okay.
If you guys have Eclipse, right, you can just go anything, any day, any object, you can just randomly pick any object from your SailPoint, and all this created you have, right? You have this created, right? Just go randomly pick. All this is in the same format, okay? Go randomly go pick some values and do this. So this will tell you in what is the date it was created, or when is the next, I mean, like, if you want to know when is the next execution in the right format, you are not able to see it as user friendly date. This is how you go back and see. The date will, you can copy it from anywhere, any just created or modified or anything from any object. Okay, any questions with the task schedules?
No, Disha, it's clear.
No, Disha.
Clear, Disha.
And so this one gives you the results, okay? And the risk scores and application scores, I don't want to explain right now. I will take it up on the future. So here, can you guys have a high level tell me, given this view, what are the things that you guys have already dealt with?
Certifications, tasks, groups, business process. Sorry, that's it.
Okay. In certifications, you of course guys know about everything on certifications, right? This gives you
Yes.
the ones which you schedule, once you configured and ran it. This one, if you have any repetitive or monthly, whatever is on periodic basis, it will come in certification schedules. These are based on the events, right? When there's a change in manager or change in attribute, anything you configure, that will come in the certification events. Next is roles. So, can anyone tell what as per you is a role?
More than one entitlement is defined as a role.
Not necessarily, right? Okay. See, this role here comes with the picture of role-based access management. Okay. RBAC model. I mean, if you have come across this word RBAC, that is what it means. Role-based access model. Okay. Access control. So here, let's assume like just an example. First, Archana joined the project. Okay. Archana joined a project. She has got certain access. She as a SailPoint developer needed access to the all local dev environment, pre-prod environment, production environment, and the servers also, right? For her debugging process, she needs some server access, and she might need some specific AD groups to access for her day-to-day activities. Okay. So when her account was created, she had to raise individual request for all these access. One by one, she had to raise an access. Okay. Tomorrow, or another person comes in, same as Archana's role. Even he creates the same process, whatever Archana follow based on Archana's input. Okay. If you want to start, if this is a repetitive process, okay, is it feasible, like telling, okay, if a SailPoint developer is coming, by default give these certain these particular access whichever Archana had? Which do you think is better approach with respect to giving accesses? Might have couple of more accesses. So along with title and your location, your roles can get redefined and access also will get redefined, right?
Okay.
First, based on title, you are a SailPoint developer. Whoever has SailPoint developer access should get certain set of access. And SailPoint developer and location, offshore resources, they might need some more accesses, right?
Okay.
Yeah, am I making sense? So there could be certain
Yes.
criteria wherein you
Yes.
need to do a grouping, and for each and every
Okay.
grouping, there might be underlying entitlements which needs to get tagged.
Yes.
Am I making sense?
Yes. Yes, Disha.
Okay, these conditions based on which you are trying to do a module, right? That is called role mining. This is what you are trying to give it through role-based access module. Here we have this new roles, right? There are 4 different types of tabs you see. First one we'll go with role. Here it could be, so these are the 4 different types. Okay, one is organizational role, one is business role, one is IT role, and business entitlement role. Okay, organizational role is the hierarchy. Let's say first all of you, and then business condition is like I told you, right? Based on the identity attributes. Let's say location, title, all this department. Based on all these types, you're trying to make a grouping. Okay, and then we have this IT role, which will tell you the access. If you see, the view also will change here. Okay, you just have inherited, like I told you, right? Based on the conditions you mentioned, then it will start following one by one. Next, business role. It will tell you who you want to assign it as. Based on identity attribute, I want it based on the location or based on the title. Okay, now I want to make it like I told you, right? First, I wanted to give it on the job title and then location and job title. Whatever I want to, I'll have this hierarchy formed. And to me, I need to give access to the entitlement, right? So here I have to trigger it, IT role for that. So given that business role conditions, what is that access you need to have? Just an example. This is all just an example conditions, right? So I'm just telling, okay, if you are belonging to offshore and certain location, you need to gain access to this entitlement. So anybody who belongs to this location and who has this job title, right? I want them to gain access to this IT. So underline, he'll get this access associated with this particular IT. Okay. If you have a organization role defined, right, you can have it as inherited role. So he has to be a part of, let's example, take it as JMC. He's confident. He'll be belonging to IAM team, and if he is having these parameters, he'll be following this hierarchy. Okay. I have done this, right? So if any users who have these parameters are satisfied, and if he doesn't have this entitlement, right, DPA entitlement, right, when you run a refresh, he'll get access through birthright rules. You have this, right? Refresh, assign detected roles and promote additional entitlements. So because of this condition, he'll be, if he satisfies the conditions defined there, he will be getting that additional access if he doesn't already have. You see, for 9 people, it was added.
Yes.
And go back to advanced analytics and let's search who are the users who got the business role. Okay. So anytime a user satisfies, right, tomorrow some person can, right now he is not in Austin location. He belongs to this job title, okay? And he will be moving from one location to the other location. Tomorrow, two more users satisfies this Austin location and this condition. When you do a refresh for them, right, by default he'll be getting the entitlements. And let's assume like users who were in Austin and had this job title, probably the user who had this job title has got promoted, so he need not have this access anymore. In that scenario, what will happen? Will it get removed? Can it get removed, or it may be defined in some task? How is he getting the entitlements here as per you guys? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Risha.
So I told you based on this, it will assign new roles or detect new roles, right?
Yes, Risha.
Tomorrow, let's assume like I was in Austin and I'm a manager. I had that infrastructure manager role. I am no more in Austin. I moved to some other location. In that scenario, I won't be satisfying that roles anymore, right? If it
Yes.
has to get deprovision, what should happen? Should it get deprovision genuinely? It's a simple question, right?
Yes.
You were satisfying certain set of parameters based on condition, okay? Now you don't satisfy that condition anymore. Should you have that entitlement access related to the role?
No.
You
No,
should
Disha.
not ideally have it, right?
Yes.
That means it should get removed, correct?
Yes, Disha.
Where in this task, in the screen, do you see the parameters? I asked a question. I in fact showed you I'm the right place. Here, if you just scroll through the options also, you'll figure understand it. I'm asking what could be that option here.
Refresh identity entitlement for all links.
That is something related to the entitlements. Do you see this option?
Yeah. Disable provisioning of deassigned roles.
Disable deprovisioning of deassigned roles. What does it mean?
So
Some
whatever
clients, right, they don't want you to remove the access. They want it to be kept intact.
Yes.
Okay, in that scenario, they check this box. If you check this box, right, even if he moves out of that Austrian location, he'll still be having an entitlements. So if you
Right.
want on the right parameter section, this has to be unchecked. That means he has to get deassigned from the roles
Deassigned.
because he doesn't satisfy it anymore.
Right.
I can block it or I can allow it based on this particular condition. These are important, okay, based on whatever I'm telling you, right? All this based on the client ask only we are trying to explain it. So, I mean, there could be certain, if you see, everyone is shattered into different teams, okay? We won't be able to give you 100% what is the ask from the client. Sometimes you might be directly interacting with them. For you to understand what they might be asking is what we are trying to give you things on a high level.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the parameter which defines it. Can you remove it or do you don't want to remove it? Okay.
Okay.
Any questions here with respect to defining roles?
Clear, Disha. Clear, Disha.
And one more thing, in business role, I showed you the filter conditions, right? I selected this match list, right? Either you can write a script telling that, okay, identity dot get attribute location or get job title location. You can give it in the script, or you can write a rule, or you can based on a population. I can create a population and ask him, tell that, okay, if user belongs to this population, just give him the rights. So whatever is the conditions on which you want to filter it, that is what these options are. In these three cases, you'll have to write it manually. To see this, you have to write a snippet. Script also you need to write in rule. Of course, you can select a rule. End of it, you'll be still be writing a snippet. Okay.
Okay.
If it is directly, it can be mapped. If you can map it, this is what is the functions you use. Like I said, I've shown you based on entitlement. Sometimes it could be based on application, and sometimes it could be on the other role attributes. Okay.
Okay.
These are the other conditions on which you can get the assignments. And if you want, I mean, how you can get the IT role is based on this underlying attributes. Sometimes, right, it could be disabled. They create a role, but for some period of time, they want to keep it disabled. If it is disabled, you will not be able to get the role assignments. It has to be in the enabled state for you to get the role assignments. Okay.
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 And I'll show you IT role mining. Okay. So we don't know, like I said, sometimes we may not know based on what we have to do the grouping, right? Like I said, the example of Archana and SailPoint developer and access of it, I may not be able to 100% do justification in that. So I can probably do a role. I can have a process within SailPoint wherein SailPoint can suggest me what are the roles I need. I can define it within the system, right? It what it does it at the back end based on these parameters, it runs a fuzzy logic by itself. That means it does a grouping. It gives like best possible solution what can be given. It will try to run by itself and suggest you whatever the suggestions SailPoint has given. You can probably take it back to the client, give the authenticity of it, and you can get it approved, and that you can define it as new rules.
Okay.
Okay, these two are the roles. These two are the applications which I need to consider. Okay, sometimes I'm just giving you an example. This is multi-valued. Okay, and some if you want to exclude any entitlements, you can keep it out of loop. I want to keep blank template out of loop because it is not a genuine template, right? So I want to keep this blank template out of scope. So I will do a run. I want to run it only on active users. I don't want to run it on inactive users. Okay. So it will tell you what is the criteria. Group 1. What is the criteria? How many people will be satisfying these conditions? Group 2, Group 3, like this. Okay, you can export it as CSV and take it back to the client. See here, you see. Well, that based on my IT role mining results also, I can establish my roles. Any questions here? I'm explaining tomorrow so since area. And yeah, what is task? What are the different tabs here? Can any of you explain?
If any task was scheduled, then scheduled task will be displayed in the scheduled tasks.
Mhm.
And whatever the completed tasks we have, those tasks are displayed in the task results.
Okay. So what type of object at the back end do I have to look for these kind of tasks? Let's say this AA task, right? I want
Yeah.
to see at the back end. What is the object I need to see it at? Explain it today as a part of reports, right? What is the task I need to see? Similar to your reports only, right? From here, you created a what type of task, right? So this is all these are your parent tasks, correct?
Right.
I'll be executing subtask of this parent task. So it will tell you what is the parent task, what were the options that were selected as part of my aggregation, right? Applications I selected was these 4 applications. So this is filtered. So every time I run this task, a task, that means applications associated with this based on whatever configurations you see, right? This is what it aggregates, correct?
Yes.
So similar, all your reports, task, everything at the backend is connected to the same task similar task definition and task schedules. Any doubts here? You have to pick up the account aggregation task, right? Whatever option that you select, whatever options that you have it at the screen, right? The checkbox, all that, everything is having a backend attribute. And what does it return? All these attributes is what it returns, right? How many identities were created, how many accounts were created, how many correlated, all the details it will give you in the display, right? This is your outputs. Return is what is your output, and this is what is your inputs which it takes. All these are some of them are checkbox, right? If it is type as boolean, that means it gives you a checkbox. If it gives you string, that means you can give a input value. And here applications is a mandatory attribute, right? This is required. And what type of object can you select in the drop down is applications only, right? You can select more than one application, so that is why it is marked as multi-valued. So at the backend, based on these attributes, is what it calls the task. Clear?
Yes, clear.
And when you run this task, right? Yeah, I told you the executor, right? What was the executor for reports?
Live report.
SailPoint.reporting
report dot live.
report executor. Right? So this is this task definition. It will tell you this is the backend API which it gets called. When you go extract your IdentityIQ jar file, right? Under this task SailPoint import, under your SailPoint task, you will have this class file. In that class file, you'll see an execute method. That is what will get kicked off every time you run this task. So similarly, for each and every task visit at the backend, there will be a class file, and in that class file, there should be an execute method.
Execute.
You can download any decompilers, or if you have Eclipse also, you should be able to extract it. It was first for account aggregation. What was the task? You see this? So whatever based on schedule you selected or result you selected, all of that is what will be returned as the output. You had the sign-off report, right? Access radio sign-off report, right? If you go back to the backend, it will tell you this path file. SailPoint report and certification sign-off report. Any questions here?
So whatever the files you shown right now, all those are available. I mean, we can view by using Java decompiler, right?
Yes.
So we need to download it first. Or it is
Like I said,
available.
even if you have Eclipse, you should be able to see that. You will anyway add them to your import statement. You will add it to the references, right?
Yeah.
You should be able to see through it. So yeah, if you have any confusion with you want to know what is each of these tasks does, probably if you give us some time, I'll ask Shrikant or Archana to consolidate what each of the tasks or what each of the report does, and probably send you the document for you to have a quick review.
Okay.
And if you want to guys want to see and try to understand it, we are good also. You can try exploring yourself also.
Oh.
And okay, with respect to this, what is the with respect to group configuration, what is the thing that you guys already know, are aware of?
Sure. In audit action, I mean, certification pre-delegation, we did a work group.
Okay, what is work group?
So we can create a group with different types of. I mean, for owner, managers or for owners, we can create this work group.
So here, do you have to manually add the members, or it automatically adds the members?
We can add manually.
This is manual membership, right? Yeah, right. That's right. So things certain times, right? Let's say all of you belong to a certain group, okay? In SailPoint, you might be doing different projects, right? Right now, let's say you're only doing for enhancement or lifecycle event perspective. So instead of giving each of you the say individual capabilities, I want to give you a group capability. I want to create this team called enhancements team, and I want to give a certain capabilities for the this group, complete work group, and I want to assign members to this work group. Here, any notification that comes, right, everything will be based on the configurations it will do, and I can assign a particular capability. When I assign a capability here, right, whoever is a member of this group, right, I'm just showing, okay, let me show you example initially. Do you see any rights here? It doesn't have, user doesn't have any capabilities, right? So I'm creating this. And I'm adding this user and I'm giving this business or administrator.
Business role administrator.
After I refresh, this user is a part of this work group and he has this capability assigned from this work group. He's not been assigned capability individually, but he's getting this capability from this work group.
Work group.
Tomorrow I might change the capability to some other thing. Based on the operation of that work group, whatever it was created. Sometimes you might want to send a notification or assign a particular approval process to a specific group, like AD group. I mean, all the users of an entitlement, right? And all the entitlement owners, you want to group it together and make it as AD entitlement group. Any notifications has to be approved by anything notification should go to the whole group. In that scenario, we want to create a work group and manually assign the members to that work group. So here in work group case, we will be manually creating, manually assigning the members. It will not be automated. Clear?
Yes, Disha.
Okay. Next comes your concept of population. Okay, this is like a dynamic. I'm just telling you an example, okay? I want all the users who are part of Austin to be grouped together. So there are 27 users in this Austin location. So I want to create a population. You see here, these are the options, right? I want to create these as you see this.
Yes.
Based on this location I'm giving, I want users to be clubbed together. So tomorrow I want to schedule a certification for all the Austin users. Either this is a simple query, a simple map, right? Like this I can complicate also. If I want to use a composite filter, I can keep doing it, right? Like I told you the example in roles also, right? Either you can have a filter or you can select the populations also, right?
Population. Yes.
Here
Yes,
I can have an and condition also, right?
right.
I can keep on adding the conditions. So only if user satisfies that condition, he'll be populated. So this is dynamic. Anybody who changes his location to Austin by default will be part of this group definition. So this is dynamic. This is manual.
Right.
Okay. So coming to groups, okay. I'm going to create a new group called managers. And how I want them to be owner of this group is through the managers. When I make it as enabled, right? When I run this refresh task with this option identity scorecard. So here I have refreshed the group scorecards. I have to check this and execute it. Only then the identities will get refreshed. Okay. So since I created this group factory, I have this manager group. So tomorrow I want there was one more type of certifications. If you remember, okay, can somebody tell me what is this advanced certification?
So whenever we have group factories or populations, then we can use advanced certification.
So based on the okay, these are the conditions in which I can schedule a advanced certification. Either if it is based on a population or based on a group. The group which I just showed you, I defined, right? Manager group. Certification will go to the managers. So first one I'm selecting based on the population. Okay, I've created the Austin population and selected it, right? Next I'm going to create it based on the group. Any users who have a manager will come here. Okay.
Okay.
Now there were two certifications. One is based on population, other one is based on the group. So that is why this group comes in the picture. Okay, business process. Anything? If you, are you guys aware of the workflows in SailPoint?
Yeah, I have little bit idea regarding.
Workflows, right? Okay, let's say right now I made some changes to the role, right? Tomorrow I make some more changes and I want to submit it. It needs to go for an approval, right? Sometimes it could go with an approval, right?
Yes.
In that scenario, it needs to it will go for an approval telling the owner of the certificate, owner of the object telling that, okay, such and such changes were made. Do you want to approve it? Only if the owner of that object approves it, it will go and commit the changes whatever I made. So why did it go for a approval owner? Because it needs to have a process, right? Telling that, okay, nobody can just go randomly keep making changes to the objects, right? There needs to be a proper procedure as to, okay, what is the pros and cons. If I don't have a proper process defined, there are chances that people could corrupt the objects, right?
Yes.
Or
So
if they don't have a proper justification, they should not be able to submit it, right?
yes.
Or tomorrow, if audit tells that why is this change done, if I'm not aware of why is that change done, I won't be able to give a proper explanation to the audit team, right? So that
Yes.
is why I need to have the proper process defined for any object. So how is this happening? How is an approval going to every time I make a change to the rule? Now approval has come, right? What do you think is responsible for triggering this approval? Any change which I make on role, why did an approval go and how did it go? So when every time there is any change, right? When I submit on that button called impact analysis, right? This is the workflow which gets kicked off. Okay, it will do a changes between what was before the changes and current changes, and it will tell it will send it to the approval owner, telling that, okay, review the access and submit it. Only if it is reviewed by the team, reviewed by the proper owner, I'll be able to commit the changes. That is what this workflow says. These are the steps involved. On a high level, it needs to, okay, if this is not approved, it has to end the workflow, right?
Yes.
So for anything that is happening in system, let's say tomorrow, you're creating you're clicking on manage user access and submitting the entitlements, right? You select a user, select the entitlement and submit it, and it goes and creates at the backend. It goes and creates a entitlement, so does the provisioning, right?
Yes.
You guys have used the manage user access quick link, right? How many of you have not used it? Kicks off at the backend.
Okay.
Okay. Here, if you see, I'll explain you in detail on this LCM processes. Workflows clearly. Here you can tell it needs to go for approval or not. Just on a high level, I'm telling you, okay, you can check if you need it to go send it for an approval. Here you have an approval mode, right? It is telling parallel, and here you are telling approval scheme is owner. If an entitlement is set, when the entitlement owner is set, right, it will go for an entitlement owner approval when you submit any changes on the for a given user. If you select an entitlement and submit, right, it will go for this entitlement owner approval first. Only if he approves, you will be able to send it for provisioning. How it does is based on the configurations done here. As soon as you submit a ticket, as soon as you submit it on the front end, it goes and creates an access request item, right? As soon as you submit some ticket on the manage user access, don't you see a ticket submitted? Can you not track it here?
Yes.
How do you think this request is coming from? From this workflow.
Okay.
Workflow tells, okay, when a ticket is submitted, go and raise the access request. This is the step for creating the access request. And here, if you see, it will, as a part of this, it will create the access request ID. What is the next step? If there is an approval, it will go for approval, and if after approval, it will go for provisioning. And I told you on case of delimiter application, it has to create a manual work item, right?
Yes. Disha.
So based on a provisioning process, it will tell you if it needs to create an approval work item. If in between, if there is any error set, it will tell you, okay, why it failed and what was the reason it failed. So all this, based on every operation that you do it in SailPoint, right, at the backend, it will tell you what is the process it has to follow. Whatever the process is defined is at the backend known as workflow, okay? Though you know it as object name is workflow, but when you come to the front end, right, it will be as business process. Whatever LCM provisioning I showed you at the backend, right, you can see here. Start, that means as soon as you select on that manage user access quick link, it starts there. You select the operations and submit it, right? As soon as you select it, it will go create the access request item. If there is any errors, it will exit telling that, okay, it failed due to so and so errors. If everything is successful, it will go here. Then if you have any approval process, it will go to approval. If you have multiple approvals, it does the split. It splits based on the approval process, okay? And does all the provisioning. And then if it is being split, it has to collate back all the provisioning details and merge it together. And then it has to do the refresh, and then it has to send a notification and the workflow. So backend, whatever you see as workflow, right? Step start, next step transition to initialize, all this at the front end, it will be known as business process. So whatever variables you could see there, right? I showed you approval mode and approval scheme, right? I think this has to be an interactive session, people. If you don't respond to me, I'll think that you lost it and I'll have to re-explain everything.
I'm getting Disha.
I told you about the approval mode and approval scheme, right? At the front end, it will show what is the approval scheme.
Okay.
What is the notification? Whatever you see at the front back end as this variable, right? You can see it here in business process variables. Designer will tell you what is the steps in thorough steps. If you want to see. I mean, this is not user friendly for you to understand it, right? So on the front end, it is segmented as business process and you can see it here. Tomorrow you may be asked to design a new workflow, right? Lifecycle event. New joiner or leaver they want you to design. All this formatting you need to do, right?
Okay.
So that is how the front end, for you to see it as user friendly, you can do it here. So that is what comes under business process of the front end here. Okay. Any questions here with respect to business process? Okay. Coming to the concept of lifecycle events, right? When a user is coming, when a new joiner is coming, you identify him as a new identity and you want to give him some basic access, right? You can do it with a birthright provisioning. In that scenario, joiner, if you're doing it birthright roles, right, you don't even need to have a joiner. But sometimes, let's say, in some scenarios, you might have to create a unique ID, right? User might be having coming as a first name, last name combination of coming, generating it, or he might have an email or he might not have an email. All this may have to be generated within SailPoint, right? Let's say, like your example of your unique, like your employee IDs. In most of the companies, it is auto-generated, right? Or your SAM account names for Active Directory, your login information has to be unique, right?
Yes.
In that scenario, you have to generate a new value, new unique ID. In that scenario, you can do it in the joiner. As soon as a new identity is coming into the system, you want to generate that unique ID and save it on the identity object. That process you can handle it as a part of joiner. Am I clear?
Clear.
Yes.
And so if you don't have birthright provisioning in place, okay, you don't have role-based access or anything in place. As soon as a user is coming, right, you need to give him a basic AD account, right? In that scenario, as a part of joiner workflow itself, you have to prepare a plan. You remember you were handling a plan, right, inside your after provisioning rule, before provisioning rule, and JDBC rules for create, modify, and all.
Yes, Disha.
Yes.
You know how a plan will look like, right? So programmatically, you have to write a logic for you to generate a plan for a given application. For let's take the example I gave you. Every time a user comes in from HR source, he needs to get a basic Active Directory account. So you'll create a plan for Active Directory application and create all the attributes, whatever is required, and you'll do a provision and end the workflow. This is one type of joiner. The other type of joiner I told you is based on you generate a unique ID and let it go through the birthright roles. Any questions on the joiner? Why you need a joiner or how it can be done?
Yeah, Krita. Yeah, Disha. Right.
So right now it is disabled, okay? So every time a user is created, it mentions as your event type as created. Every time a user is created, this is the workflow which gets called. So whatever is your business logic, based on it, you can write a new workflow or edit this existing workflow. This is out of box workflow. Like this for each and every type. Like I told you, when a user is leaving, when there is a manager, when there's a transfer of manager, or when there's an attribute change from location to location, you want to make some changes, or based on some specific criteria which can only be triggered through a rule. In that scenario, you can use this rule or native change. Any of this you want to trigger any workflows, accordingly you will trigger. And if you want to specify it for a specific group of users, you want to schedule it. Like for contractors only, you want to run this joiner. For contractors only, you want to generate this, creating dummy Active Directory application with basic parameters. For employees, you want them to go through a normal birthright provisioning. In that scenario, you can separate it out, right? You can create a joiner separately for contractors and have them split it based on the user type, correct?
Yes, Disha.
The others, as soon as they get a refresh, they'll be getting the other access as part of your joiner role definitions.
No.
So they are based on all the criteria. This is all business perspective. Okay, so you have to understand what a life cycle is. Do you understand what a life cycle is?
Yes, Disha.
Okay, here you tell what is the type of it and what is the business process. Backend, what has to happen when such an event gets triggered, and only if it is enabled state. And for if you enable it also, if you don't check this process events in refresh identity QBreak, it will not consider for checking the lifecycle events. This option is there, right? Process events. This has to be checked if you want to, if you want identities to be scanned for lifecycle events.
Okay.
Any questions with lifecycle events? We'll be walking you through lifecycle events once. Okay. Any questions with the user?
No, Disha.
Yeah, Disha, I have a small doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if we are taking e-card application, by using provisioning rules, we we are using enable create provisioning rule, right?
We are not
So,
creating provisioning rule.
so
Okay, go ahead.
if we are refreshing that, it will be reflected, right? So, if when we are creating, when we are creating new joiner event, so in case of refresh identity, we need to provide the filter name. For example, department name equal to finance, like that. So in that case, is there any conflicts are going on?
I didn't get you. Can I repeat?
Yeah.
Okay, today, as on today, you don't have a joiner, correct?
Right.
Okay, so whatever entitlements are there, or whatever identities are all there, they're already existing identities, right?
Right.
Until a new entry comes from HR, your joiner, even if you configure a joiner today and enable it, right? Until you have a new identity created in HR source, it's not going to trigger a joiner. For existing identities, it will not create a joiner because they're already in system, right?
Yes.
Joiners will only get triggered if it is a new identity.
New identity. Okay. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
So when a new identity is coming, he will have nothing except for HR source. I told you for when you click on manage user access, I told you LCM provisioning workflow is what will get kicked off, right?
Yes, Disha.
If you were to know, how will you go figure it out? So right now these are the quick links, right?
Yes.
Manage user access is LCM provisioning. Is manage user access, it's LCM provision. Manage account is again LCM provision. Unlock, lock and unlock operations you did, right? Enable, disable.
Yes, Disha.
Okay.
Something similar is unlock user account. So this is what you do. So manage passwords, it's a separate workflow. LCM manage passwords.
Passwords. Okay.
If you want to create an identity or edit an existing identity, these two are the this is the workflow. So for each and every operation at the front end, right, it will be tagged to this. This is how you can see it.
Okay.
Okay.
With respect to entitlement update and password details, right? When you make any changes in the entitlement catalog, right, this is the workflow which gets triggered. It will be under same global settings, IdentityIQ configuration, miscellaneous. In this, you can see these two workflows. Okay.
Okay.
I want you to go through all these options. If any doubts you have to come back and ask. Okay, what is this used for? Compliance manager. It was explained in the previous session. That's why I'm asking. Why do you think, where does this compliance manager come into picture?
It is the default certification where in certification it will be displayed like this. Means if you want to
So these are the
default.
default options as soon as you click on the scheduled certification.
Yes. Yes.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Shravan and Vidyala?
Yes, Disha.
Disha.
So anything with respect to provision or environment details, what is running, what is not running, all this you can see it in the administrator console. All these are only available to the administrator parameters, okay? Administrative law, system administrative capabilities. Otherwise, you cannot see all these things. Anything, any kind of objects, go over, roll over your instance and see if any gaps you have. If you want to know about it, come back and we'll be happy to help you. Are we clear?
Yes, Disha.
And
Yes,
one
Disha.
more point you guys have to note.